Okay, we're here this morning with Sir Howard Bernstein, the Chief Executive of Manchester City Council, to get his thoughts on a few key issues, not just as far as Manchester is concerned, but as far as the wider Northern Powerhouse agenda, and indeed the national political scene is concerned as well. So, Howard, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us today.
Very well.
The first thing I'd like to ask, on that Northern Powerhouse agenda, obviously there's been a change of government. Do you think that we are still on course to deliver the ambitious programme that I know you and others in this part of the world would like to see?
Well, what the government has done very clearly over the last few months is give clear commitments that they are and totally supportive of the Northern Powerhouse strategy. And that's a strategy which is as much about the city regions of the north of England as it is for government. But what we've got to do now is wait and see, whether it's through the autumn statement, whether it's commitments beyond the autumn statement over the next few months, that we're going to get the absolute resource commitments which are necessary to underpin the execution of that strategy. So all the indications are good, very confident, not complacent, but we need to make certain that these commitments are actually translated into very strong resource commitments around transport, around skills and science and innovation.
Is Manchester still going to be at the heart of that agenda? Because again, if you listen to the Prime Minister now, she's talking about a more equitable approach. Sounds to me a little bit like the days of the regional development agencies where everybody has to get a slice of the cake. Do you think Manchester is still going to be able to be the pioneer of this journey? Because, let's face it, it was Manchester that really pushed this agenda on in the first instance.
And we've got to continue to push that agenda on. I don't think any of us have argued at any time in the past that the Northern Powerhouse is the single exclusive platform for growth outside London and the South East. There are obviously other places in the Midlands and other parts of the country which have got justifiable claims for supporting their growth priorities, to the extent they have them, by the way. But the Northern Powerhouse is a very distinctive and unique strategy, in my view. When you look at Liverpool, Merseyside, Manchester, Greater Manchester, South Yorkshire, Leeds, West Yorkshire, just to name a few, you are talking about a cluster of significant city regions in their own right, where if you get the synergies which flow from connectivity through better, more productive labour markets, you've got the focus around the key assets of those areas. We have a total economy which is in the top 20 in the world, and that is a very distinctive and unique strategy. And therefore, what I would argue is that if you are sincere about rebalancing our national economy, then the Northern Powerhouse is a fundamental part of that.
Just in terms of your own personal position, you've obviously announced that you're going to stand down sometimes in the not too distant future, although Richard Lee seems to be suggesting at an event we had in Lancashire yesterday that he's going to shackle you to the desk and you're not going anytime soon. But is Manchester's place, do you think, secured in terms of the next 5-10 years? Are the strategies now here for somebody to pick that baton up and run with and continue the success that, let's face it, has been unprecedented over the past 25 years?
Of that there is absolutely no doubt. This has not just been about Howard Bernstein. I think that's very important. You know, yes, I played a part, but you know, the political leadership that Richard, before Richard Graham, the work which my colleagues in the council have undertaken, the strength and breadth of the partnerships that exist between the City Council and different private sector companies is so strong now, in my view, that the question is not going to be, is Manchester not going to grow? It's how quickly and how strongly does Manchester do grow? over the next decade. So are we going to be creating 40,000 jobs, or should it be 70,000 jobs? Will the demand for new housing in Manchester and Greater Manchester be 120,000, or should it be 220,000? Is our road network going to get congested? Do we need to support more investment in our road and our wider public transport? So of course the answer to those things is yes. We're on a growth path now, and if we remain focused on our key priorities, and also at the same time creating the platform for ensuring that everyone who lives in Manchester has the opportunity to share in that success, then the prognosis for Manchester in the future is very, very strong.
Of the many things that you've been involved in since your time here, just from a personal perspective, what's been your proudest moment, the thing that's given you the most pleasure, the most joy?
I think for me, intellectually the devolution agreements have given me the most pleasure, because I think we can all point to different initiatives, different physical developments, and thankfully there's been a number of them in Manchester over the last 20 years to come out of gains in terms of a huge milestone in our journey, the way we recovered from the bomb, which shook all of us. But this was about how you start to rewrite the constitutional relationship between the centre and local government. I've always been, first and foremost, a passionate advocate of local government. I've always believed in it, and I believe the case for strengthening local government has always been exceptionally strong. And if you start to address what some of the nation's key priorities are now, about how we ensure people who are disconnected from the labour market can play a full and active part in the labour market, devolution is absolutely pivotal in responding to that challenge. So for me, I think devolution has been hugely important. I think it gives certainly Manchester and all the local authorities in Greater Manchester the unique opportunity now for starting to readdress the relationships they want to have as local authorities with their own citizens, where on the back of having more powers, more functions, a greater capacity to support people in their own journeys for securing better life chances for themselves, it's also an opportunity to start to address how people take, in return for that, more responsibility themselves for their own life chances. So I think it's a very important part of the role of local government, and more particularly the way in which places like Manchester can continue to prosper.
And it wouldn't be a conversation between Frank McKenna and Sir Howard Bernstein if I didn't ask you about football.
Oh yeah.
So City's chances this year seem to be doing particularly well in the Champions League, but blowing it a bit in the Premier League.
Well, I think at the start of the season, I think everyone would have reckoned that, you look at where you are going to be at Christmas, I think we're going to be there or thereabouts in the Premiership. We're clearly now going to be in the next round of the Champions League, which was a bit daunting when you think we started our Champions League campaign before effectively the season even started. So I think this is a marathon, and I think we've got a manager where it's very difficult for us to think of failure at the moment, and it's going to be one hell of a joyride, isn't it? Because this certainly is fantastic. You see the way he creates atmosphere, the way in which he demonstrates passion. He's been not just good for football and City, but I think he's been good for Manchester as a place, and long may that continue.
Great. So Howard, thanks very much.